Okay, we are live today. I am doing both the Freedomizer show along with an Instagram live. So for those listening in case you get a little confused, sometimes I jump to read comments on the Instagram live if you're like, is she talking to herself? So really interesting what's going on right now, you guys, with my voice. It used to be like just raspy and great. And now it's like, I know it's what I've been breathing in. I just know it. Because so many of us are feeling this. I'm like, I have no cold symptoms. I just have a raspy throat. And I hate it. But that's what's happening. I'm gonna probably stop sharing anything I use and do from here on out. Because, man, I got so schooled. And it's okay. It's just that, oh my gosh, you guys, that honey thing. I was like, I guess I'm going back to Costco today to return a 2-pound tub of honey. Who's coming with me? Yeah, and it's not like the sexy, raspy voice either, It's not like where people hear your voice and they go, ooh, that's kind of nice. Do you sing? Do you do the nightclub lounge thing with the piano bar? And you're like, no, this is just the way I sound. It's crazy, right? I'm like, why does it sound like this today? It's crazy. Okay, a lot of like confusion with the Manuka honey thing. First of all, can I just say this? Why did I even go to get honey in the first place? Like, why was I going to spend almost $40 on honey? Every time I'm doing these little bits and I use raw organic honey. That's typically what I use, okay? You can get a few of them at Costco and I'm like, it is organic. It says raw. It's got to be okay. Oh my gosh, honey is so controversial. I posted this thing months ago, if you can find it on my Facebook, which was just hilarious to me. I wasn't trying to start any fights. It literally was a status update that I just said, vegans, can you eat honey? That's all I asked. And then I went to bed, and the next day I woke up and it was 200 comments deep. And Jeff was just laughing. He's like, you asked for it, but it was a lot of vegans on there that just couldn't seem to agree on that. They ended up, the ones who did eat honey called themselves vegans. Okay. So my deal is, obviously I drink a lot of tea. I use honey. And every now and then I'll get a person who I'm sure means well. Is like, hey, you should use locally sourced honey from a farmer's market or somebody in your area. And because your local honey will likely also help with whatever allergies are in your area. And I'm like, cool, great. So my thought process was, well, I guess quite a few of these people think that I need better honey for the tea that I drink. So I go and I'm like, well, it's really expensive. It's got to be good honey. All I did was flip it, look at the back. I'm like, it's got these ratings. It says non-GMO. It says organic. It's got to be what they're talking about. Come to find out, half of you guys think that I should share the screenshots. Because half of you think that it should be used medicinally. The other half are like, you can take a teaspoon daily. It's not a problem. Then I have people that are like, never use a metal spoon. Then I have some that are like, spoons don't matter. The honey is going to just coat over whatever, and it's got all these antimicrobial effects, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if you put a booger into it, and it would literally just, it's honey. It's going to. So I just last night was like, why? What and why? And I just think that at this point, I know a lot of you guys are like, what do you use? What do you do? And I'm scared to show you anything of my regimen because what works for me, honestly, might not work for you at all. At all. Mix it with breast milk for a perfect facial. I know. I'll have people that, what do you do for your milk? Your milk supply is crazy. First of all, with my milk, what's going on with that, right? My breast milk, I'm still pumping. I'm only pumping twice a day now. I'm still getting 50 to 60 ounces. But if somebody is like, what do you do? You know, I hate to break it to you guys. Is that a dry cough or was that? I'm like tripping out here today. And I could tell you honestly, okay, well, I do Booby Boot Camp. For those that are really interested in knowing what I did for my milk, I have a pumping journey video on my YouTube. It's like 10 minutes long. You could look at that. I pumped from like the beginning, but I also breastfed. I also took my placenta. Like I did the placenta encapsulation, which I think tripled my milk this time around. With the other two babies, I was always able to stash thousands of ounces also, but never was able to just give away thousands of ounces too. So I attribute it to not just my Booby Boot Camp, but my placenta that I took. And I also took a supplement called Milky Mama. But that Milky Mama supplement, it's pretty much malunggay, which is moringa leaves. It's got fenugreek. But you know, I'll have women that are like, I took that, it didn't work for me. Or, okay, that doesn't work. I don't know what to tell you. It worked for me. I don't know what to tell you. And so it's like, I feel like I'm a bit at a loss. Like, you guys have to realize that every supplement out there, right? Like everything out there that is not FDA approved, and even the FDA approved stuff is not guaranteed to work, right? Like you can't go anywhere. You could buy Tylenol for your headache, and if it doesn't work, what do? You're pretty much just like, well, that sucked. That didn't help. You chalk it up to like whatever. That's kind of how you have to treat anything that anybody advises for you to take. Like anything. I could tell you that my breast milk healed my daughter's pink eye, but guaranteed there's gonna be somebody that's like, I squirted breast milk on my kid's pink eye and nothing happened. Okay, then it didn't happen for you. My goodness, it's like a, how do people do this? How do people do it? I'm drinking matcha green tea today. It's a matcha green tea. I'm afraid to show you guys the box. I can tell you it's organic, but I swear someone will find something wrong with the tea I'm drinking. So I don't even care anymore. I don't care. One size never fits all. Seriously. It just doesn't fit all. I'm consumed daily by, the questions when it comes to everything that we take, from the CBD to the TRS, and it's like, you guys, I don't know how to explain this to you. We're all wired differently. The whole one size fits all thing, for sure, it doesn't account to any of it. And what's fascinating too with the honey, you're not supposed to give even a drop of honey, right, to any child that's under the age of 1. So back to our V topics of then how can we be okay with injecting neurotoxin after neurotoxin into day-old babies if babies shouldn't even have a drop of honey in the first year of life? So, Janny's on. Janny sent me some really great information on honey and manuka, and she has a highlight on it. So what's the highlight name again? Because it wasn't manuka. It's like I check, but it's on this phone that I'm actually speaking into. But many of you are already following Janny. She's got this great highlight on it. Janny, I was just explaining how initially I bought this manuka because I was like, I just want better honey to put in my tea. And apparently not supposed to do it that way. And anyways, you also have a really great blog on it. But I'm telling you the difference in opinions on all the honey things that I've been searching here. It's just blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. No honey but cough syrup is okay. No cow's milk, but formulas made of cows. Yeah, I know. Kimber, you're on it with that one. And so then you just get to this point where you're like, okay, well, how about we all just do what works for us, and then everybody leave everyone else alone? In a perfect world, right? In a perfect world. Oh man, you shouldn't put honey into anything but anything hot, as it kills the healing properties. Okay, so like no honey in oatmeal, no honey in... Now, what if you're just using honey to sweeten stuff because you don't want to use sugar? And like I put honey into my oatmeal or I put honey into my tea and I'm like, that made it sweet and I feel good because I'm not using sugar. Is that okay? Or is that like pointless? Room temp, warm. We don't know. Yeah, okay. It's not a hill I'm gonna die on. I'll tell you that much. We got to be very selective with the hills that we choose to die on. What hill are we gonna take that cross up to? And I've chosen my hill. You guys know which hill that is. For F's sake, live and let live. Yeah, I was like, okay, apparently I'm doing it all wrong. But Rose brought up a good point. She's like, what if you mixed it with some of your breast milk for more of the effect? I'm still fascinated by the fact that people are using this stuff for burns and it's healing all kinds of things topically. That's awesome. I was only using aloe vera for burns for the longest time, which I still am a believer in. I think everybody should have an aloe vera plant in their house because cuts, scrapes, burns. My son, I left my curling iron on like a year ago and actually it wasn't on, sorry. It was just, I had just turned it off and it was really hot still on the counter. He went to my counter to wash his hands and he was leaning in and a side burned. Like I think his side arm here got a burn and it looked really, really bad. And I was like, oh yeah, we're not going to the ER because I'm not about to incriminate myself. So I cut aloe vera and I just rubbed it on his burn and it was like instant relief, and I rubbed it on again like the following hour and he was great and there was not even a burn mark. So there's more than one thing you can use with everything, surprise, surprise. But yeah, even yesterday, you guys, I got schooled by like a few nurses who were like, yeah, the mask that you're wearing around town, you really need to pinch the top here so that nothing comes in. And I was just already like, well, thank you. Thank you for that. Now I know. But I'm still better off than like all the people that are not wearing this going out and about. A lot of people were pretty surprised to learn about the whole chemtrail thing as of recently. I didn't want to dive into it too much because, yeah, for the longest time it was this conspiracy theory thing. It's kind of not anymore because they have admitted to that they're using it to dim out the sun, which is really dangerous and really scary. That was that Bill Gates article that I had posted up. So this was what the post looked like, just so I'm not going to get lost on here. Okay, so there were quite a few newspapers that had headlines similar to this back in like winter months. Okay, so it was, if you look up anything under geoengineering news, Harvard to begin blocking the sun in spring of 2019. Okay, that's pretty much the article. Oh wait, gosh, I got tagged. Guys, careful tagging me and everything here. Hold on. Man. And so that was the article on there. And you have Daniel who gets on here. He's like, not to mention UV rays from solar exposure kills the DNA in most viruses, preventing their replication, hence the use of UV filters. So there was just another thing to look into. It was like, well, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like they keep touting, and this girl, Annie, so this is what they're doing, okay? They're spraying in the mornings, and it usually looks like this, okay? That's not a cloud. Those are not real clouds. They're spraying. And then by afternoon, it looks like this. So what they're saying right now that's happening in, let's say, California, why they haven't really experienced summer yet, and this forever June gloom that they've been experiencing since like April, it's because of stuff like this, okay? So this spreads out, and what's being sprayed on you, and it's been tested, and labs have conducted these things, it's barium, there's lithium, it's there's a lot of chemical mixed in this, okay? Creates this huge layer above us as well. And we get stuck with these like respiratory issues. And they're saying it's to help with climate change, that because of global warming, which is one of the biggest scams, okay, that due to global warming, well, now Harvard researchers and people like Bill Gates have the right to try to block off and dim out our sun. Our sun being, let me pull up this book so everybody can go and try to get it. Get you the exact title. Our sun being life-giving, and we've just been lied to for so long on how it's dangerous for us, okay? So this girl, Macy, had sent me this information on this book, if this email will pull it up. Come on. Oh, where did it go? Okay, Macy, your email is not even loading. How funny is that? Sun Hocus Pocus. Maybe you should have titled it something else. Here we go. Open up. Okay, so what is the title of this book? It's just a bunch of pages right now. Okay, wow. Okay, never mind. This is huge. Oh, way too many attachments. Let's see. Okay, it's on the Egyptians and how they were studying up the sun and all of its effects. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and post all of these images afterwards, but it's very, very interesting how they attributed even the sun to help with fertility. And that, and then studies, if you look up Mercola articles, they have studies that prove that the sun, lack of sun exposure will mess up men and their ability to have children as well. So that's a huge takeaway from this as well, that I'm like now crazy looking into, because I'm like, what is the point? And why are they allowed to mess with our environment to begin with? Like, who gave Harvard researchers that right to go ahead and do this? And then they're spraying, and then this was the freaky one, okay? So if you look up a lot of the older articles, this one was a couple years ago on Forbes, you have Bill Gates that's warning of this, okay? Here's an old Forbes article, February of 2017. It says, Bill Gates warns of epidemic that could kill over 30 million people. Okay? There he is getting just all of them. Okay, just goodbye. So Bill Gates is a smart, forget that. Okay, look, this is what they said. Whether it occurs by a quirk of nature or at the hand of a terrorist, epidemiologists say a fast-moving airborne pathogen could kill more than 30 million people in less than a year. And they say there is a reasonable probability the world will experience such an outbreak in the next 10 to 15 years. What in the, like, this stuff is like, this is the stuff that horror movies are made out of, okay, you guys? So you see articles like this years ago, like within a couple years, and then you start seeing articles of Bill Gates is working with Harvard to dim the sun, and how they're dimming the sun is they're spraying the population. Airborne pathogen that could kill more than 30 million people. It's really at this point, and then you show this to somebody and they'll literally be able to look you in the face and be like, you're such a conspiracy theorist. Monica, I think it was it Nicole? There is accounts on here. There was a girl who had taken she made her own salve, okay, which I'm like really intrigued by now. And she lined her nose, okay, she lined her nostrils with this salve, and she went out on a spray day. Came back home, removed all of that, and put it under a microscope, and there were literally moving bugs that were alive in that. And good grief, if you know her account right now, tag her in this. I am going to start looking up CERN. I'm floored. I'm floored also by people who have the audacity to be like, no, that's just normal. Have you seen that they're actually starting to use chemtrail imagery in like our kids' cartoons already so that the kids think that that's just normal? That's not a cloud. That's not what clouds ever looked like. Did you see there was like a Dior commercial, like some perfume, where one of those perfume commercials where the girl's gotta be like full makeup in a pool, gets out of a pool, for whatever reason the makeup is fine. The background had chemtrails. Like, it's just being normalized. It's just being normalized. I don't understand why these people can get away with this. And that's why I posted that yesterday. I'm like, last I checked, Bill Gates he's just a billionaire. He has no say, no nothing. So what I recommend you guys do is on these spray days, get photos of what it looks like outside and then go back to it a couple hours later and see how everything looks again. Random rain might come. Just fog. You'll find that those days it's going to be harder for you to breathe. You're going to find that you're going to have a very ultra sexy raspy voice like me. And it's going to just it's not that great, but you're going to find out, like, start piecing it together. Instead of being like, oh, I wonder what's going around. My allergies must be acting up this year. Like, I don't know how to combat this. I don't know how to protest against this, you know? Telling people to look up. We're so distracted by everything else. Everybody's looking down all day long. Of course they could do this kind of stuff, you know? Look at this guy, Neil, on here. He goes, I am sure it's just a coincidence that we're experiencing the shadiest, rainiest late spring that I can recall. They say what they are going to do. The evidence abides by their claims, and yet many will still call it wild speculation with no basis of fact. Very good job, Neil. That's exactly it. Exactly it. Your skies shouldn't look like that, okay? This Bill Gates, his dad is one of the people that started Planned Parenthood, okay? He's all for eugenics. He's always been about depopulation. He's been quoted on it too. You know, I want to say thank God for TRS. TRS is still not the only solution to everything. And yeah, I am thankful that it's around, but I wasn't planning on taking it for much longer than I would need to, just for a quick detox. It's just, why does this have to be a part of our daily now, you know? You have to start adding up all the things that you need to start taking to just keep yourself alive. And I thought organic food and whole food shopping was going to be a burden enough, you know? I was like, man, I'm going to now have to make an extra however much a month with Jeff and I and the kids so that we don't feed our kids poison, because 80% of what's lining our shelves in grocery is pretty much manufactured, processed, sugared poison. But then there's just now all of this that we all have to worry about too. I don't quite have a solution for you guys. The solution really would be that, like, the government just needs to be smaller. We really need to hold our government completely accountable. There was this little tidbit clip here too. Who sent me this? I just found this really funny. So who else follows The Simpsons and how The Simpsons have literally been able to predict everything that's happened? Like, all the crisis. The Simpsons and their episodes, it's kind of scary, right? All the predictions they've made. If you're not up to date on that, look up Simpsons predictions and you'll find so many forums on how they've been able to predict a bunch of this stuff, okay? So Simpsons YouTube block out the sun. This one I found, wait, where's the video on it? This one I found really interesting as well, and I'm gonna play it. Just so you guys can see, it's not even like a minute. Let's see if you guys can see it this way.
Well, sir, you've certainly vanquished all your enemies, the elementary school, the local tavern, the old age home. You must be very proud.
No, not while my greatest nemesis still provides our customers with free light, heat, and energy. I call this enemy the sun. Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Good God!
Imagine it, Smithers. Electrical lights and heaters running all day long.
But, sir, every plant and tree will die. Owls will deafen us with incessant hooting. The town sundial will be useless. I don't want any part of this project. It's unconscionably fiendish.
I will not suffer your insubordination. There has been a shocking decline in the quality and quantity of your toadying, Whalen, and you will fall into line. Now!
No. No, Monty, I won't. Not until you step back from the brink of insanity.
I'll do no such thing. You're fired. Take that, Folderama. Take that, Convenient Smart. Take that nuclear power.
So, I was just cracking up. Okay. We're being played with. We're in this, really big show, The Truman Show, right now. And we're just being messed with by the rich. That's all this is. That's all this is. And let me just scroll through because I feel like I'm missing some comments here. Mr. Burns is Bill Gates. Yes. That's why I want to move somewhere in the country and grow our... But it's just, where in the country now at this point can you live and grow? And the elite put this all in plain sight. Yeah. I'm sorry if your phone keeps kicking you off this live. I'm surprised that these lives actually last as long as they do. Sometimes I'll jump on the account or I'll have Jeff check it, and he's always like, yeah, your live finished a few hours ago, but I don't have the option to view a live anymore. It doesn't give me that option. So I don't know. I think with the algorithms, you're just going to have to check. I tried to give a bit of a warning on it, but unfortunately, I'm not able to. I don't know. Who cares? Instagram, whatever. So, and I'm trying to save this stuff to YouTube, but who knows if that's going to get pulled too, We're just trying to give a little bit of information as much as we can when we can. And this one for sure is worth looking into. The 5G, the chemtrails, it's happening, and you are literally living under some blindfolds if you won't even acknowledge that, There have been naysayers who are now having to admit, well, yeah, okay, I guess technically they are spraying us now, but they're not trying to poison us, Talia. You're crazy. They just wouldn't poison us. You're like, well, tell me then why Monsanto is still allowed on our shelves and they've already lost billions in lawsuits because their products cause cancer. Just explain that. Explain how McDonald's is still in business. Just a lot. There's just a lot there. I do want to quickly talk about a couple topics here so that I don't... It's too late. I've already gotten so off track. But I do want to address a few things. I feel like I cannot afford to miss another week ever again because now I'm 50 topics behind and I don't want you guys to think that I'm ignoring you. Let's not do anything on that topic there. Not going to hit up that one. Maybe we'll save that one for another day. No, I'll wait for this one too. That one's going to take up too much time. Okay, I have a few, quickly. I've addressed this before. I have a highlight called, it's that guy in Star Trek and he's going like this, and it's about getting on the same page with your spouse. If you are already married and you've had the children, first of all, if you aren't married yet, you need to be very, very selective with who you decide to marry and have babies with. This should just be across the board, regardless of the V topic or not. You have to be so selective with this person. This is how you have to think of this person too. My dad always gives me this incredible advice. He's like, look, you're about to enter into you're about to enter into these mid-20s, your 30s, and get ready right now. Your friends are going to consistently change too. It's like choosing your friends wisely as well. Company corrupts character is what my father always told me when it came to choosing my childhood friends. So how do I put this nicely when you have to choose a soulmate? When you're choosing somebody, obviously the love, there's gotta be some form of attraction there, whether the attraction happens later on because of the friendship or whatever, but there's attraction, there's love, there's all those great good feelings. Why should real world topics like this be a huge deal in somebody that you're choosing to spend the rest of your life with? Well, not only for these real big topics and how they respond to them and how they communicate with you when it comes to subjects that are uneasy. This is also the person, my dad told me this, he goes, this is going to be the person that as you're heading into your 20s and 30s, you're going to be having to cry on each other's shoulders for things like death in the family. You're already in the age right now where your friends' grandparents, this was when I was in my younger 20s, he's like, all your friends' grandparents right now are starting to die off. And you're all needing to console each other, Same with now as you approach your 30s and 40s, you guys, this is like, a hard pill to swallow, but we're all now entering into another age of our lives where a lot of our parents are the ones that are dying off, and many of them have already. And this person needs to be that person that is not just going to be fun to watch a movie with, and have dinners with. You have to be able to really ugly cry, be held and consoled by this person. Can you see this person being that for you in your life? And if something goes wrong, and let's forget if it's a vaccine injury. What if it's just a really horrible accident? This is the person that you're going to lean on, and they're going to lean on you. That's huge too. What I'm hating that I'm seeing a lot lately in this movement, and I really hate this, and I have to call it out because it makes me so infuriated. It's one of the most narcissistic things. I am seeing way too many stories about parents who are divorcing. They hate each other, right? Because we got a 50% divorce rate in this country. So you have to consider that if things go south with your partner, if they're going to turn evil, forget on you, but if they're going to become evil towards your own freaking spawn, like towards your offspring and their offspring too. How do you have this many people that are suddenly now, after 5 to 10 years of being so against these poisons, threatening their spouses, their exes, that, it's not going to hold up in court too well for you or with custody and blah, blah, blah because you're not vaccinating your kid. They are literally starting to use their children against each other. The health of their children. You have to be the lowest of the low and the most net negative to society. How dare you use your children as freaking pawns? If I ever got to a point where I loathed and hated my husband so badly, the last thought that would cross my mind would be, what can I do to hurt my kids to get to him? Are you even kidding me? There are way too many stories right now. Some are prominent activists that are going through these terrible, bitter divorces, and the significant others are now using the kids and threatening that they're going to go and get the kids all shot up, and it's like, holy crap. So what do you do then in that case? Well, you have to choose your partner wisely. That's a given. You can't be dragging your kids into this huge mess of how you're both going to now retaliate against each other. I had a girl who was so distraught with her ex because he had cheated on her, and she was threatening to circumcise their son. They both got to the same page where they agreed that circumcision was no good. They didn't. And the boy was already 6 or 7 years old, and she was like, "Well, I'm gonna then circumcise." It's like, wait a minute. So now we've gotten to this really gross, dark point in society where you got to get stuff on paper. You have to get things done on paper. So this is why I tell people, if you're in one of the 47 states that still allows religious exempt, you have to both sign it. Get that down first. Take the afternoon that's going to take 15 to 20 minutes of your life. Go to a local credit union. They will notarize it for free. Meaning, they have to see his ID, your ID. They have to see the signatures. Both of you agreeing on these are the reasons why we choose not to do this. Both of your signatures on there. Stamped. Okay? You have to start being vigilant and considering, okay? Would your spouse do this to your children? It's the nerve of these parents, seriously, who are doing this. And I feel like if you're stuck and lost and it's happened to you and it's too late, or maybe you just woke up and you already have the children and it's become this very I do sympathize, my heart goes out to you, but you need to maybe get some things in line, start documenting a lot of stuff, because I don't know and wouldn't know what to tell you. Would not know what to tell you besides having a paper trail, Having a paper trail, saving text messages between each other, perhaps. Because this is how psychotic some people turn when something happens in their life and they just become so bitter and they could do something like this. So you have to take that responsibility upon yourself. If you are in a situation like that, I can't give you any advice beyond what I've just mentioned. Notarize that shit. Just get it notarized. And yeah, so then let's move on to the next thing. We've got, can I private message you about this topic? Yeah, you can. You guys can message me about anything. Just, there's a lot of stuff I just don't feel comfortable giving advice on, at all, because I feel like it's, number one, not my place. It's kind of like over the weekend how some of you are like, oh, how did that go? That Jeff, I guess, met another mother at a neighborhood barbecue so the house that we would go to, we love this family, but they likely do vaccinate, and we just never talk about it with these people, because there's a few people in our lives that we just, since we don't see often enough anyways, it's oh, we don't need to talk about it unless they were to ask. But I guess she had a friend that was at the party that feels the same way, and she was trying to talk to somebody about the measles outbreak, and Jeff overheard, and I know many of you laughed. His text was I slid over there and then just started talking. But from what it looked like when I asked him about it afterwards, I don't know if her and her husband are both on the same page. I would hope that they are. But see, that would be difficult for me, because I've had already mothers who are I can't follow you anymore, my husband, because we don't agree. He told me that I need to stop listening to you. And it's cool, listen to yourself is what I would propose for anything and everyone anyway. Listen to your gut, listen to your instinct. I'm not telling you. Everything I share on here, you guys, is just, if it sounds like I'm telling you something, it's more my advice and what I would do in that situation. So just kind of take it all with a little bit of a grain here. I'm not trying to break up marriages, but this is an important enough topic. And I think that if your spouse doesn't care, you should maybe sit back and ask yourself, why does this person not care about something as important as this? Because if we can give a crap about one drop of honey causing all kinds of, problems, potential problems for babies, why don't we care then about everything that we're injecting into kids? That stems deeper than you watching a person on Instagram. That means that there was a lot of brainwashing that happened there and indoctrination, that you both maybe should take some time and sit back and say, look, are we going to at least acknowledge that there are things out there that are happening to people and they're being gaslighted over these issues? That's kind of how I would have to approach that situation. Monica says, I got a message this week from a follower She's pregnant, doesn't want to vaccinate her husband. Okay, yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. I, first of all, wouldn't be getting knocked up by a guy that would have the nerve to call me stupid. There's one. So I can't relate. I just can't relate. And this is maybe another reason, touchy subject, why it's okay to be teaching our kids. How about instead of teaching our kids the 50 types of different like genders and sexual positions and all of the stuff that like the sex ed wants to teach our children now, because they are so anti-teaching our kids to just maybe have a bit of self-respect and use abstinence when it comes to sex. In our generation, we shamed our parents. Going to school, for me in the 90s, it was a shame we put on our parents, the society put on our parents by saying, parents who talk this way about abstinence are so outdated, it's not realistic. People are gonna have sex, you're gonna fall in love, you're gonna wanna have sex. Okay, fine. It's very not realistic to expect a very hormonal teenager to not wanna have sex. I get that, but why can't we talk to them then about all the dangers that come from it? All of the STDs that are out there. And hey, by the way, like I know you might really, really like this guy, but here's what can happen when you have intimate relations with a person and you don't know much about their history and what they might be carrying. And if you're a parent now that wants to talk to your kid about that, they're gonna look at you like you might as well be living in like the dark ages, Exactly, Monica. I was like, why are we teaching our children about fisting in some of these books? Forget that. Forget middle school for sure. Kids are going to be out before then. I don't even care. There's so much to it besides the emotional distress and the, like I said, I sympathize if it's already happened and it's in the past and it was before you knew any better. I'm not referring to you, okay? I'm referring to the people that still have that chance to change that, for their future. Just change that for your future. People get shocked when they find out that I had to know about Jeff's entire history before we even kissed. I was like, okay, I need to know every single person you've made out with, every single person you've slept with, and go. I just sat back and waited, and he was like, wait, like just even like kiss? Like, okay, first kiss, like what, middle school? Like I was like, yeah, I need to know about all of it because I need to know if you're a dirty person because I don't want to fall in love with someone. I swear, I'm not telling you my way is the right way at all, but I know myself, okay? And I've got friends that are like this too, and it's great. I love that we can relate in this way. I cannot be physical with somebody unless I have feelings for that person, like deep feelings for that person. I've never been able to view sex as a just like, you need to just get some stress relief, go get it done. I've never, not going and judging people who do, but it's like I don't have that kind of problem then. I've never had problems like that either, where I've had guys who've just treated me like trash. Okay? Because if you can just give it up that easily, well then don't be surprised if a month or two later you show your real self to the guy, because real selves will start to come out, especially when you've been that intimate with each other. So your real self, I had way more patience when I started dating Jeff. A lot of the things that he would do before I thought were just cute. And now I'm like, that's so just not cute at all. It's not cute. Stop doing that. But I used to think a lot of that stuff was cute. Well, whatever, your real self comes out. And it will be easier for them to call you an idiot and stupid, right? If you were an idiot enough to just give it up like that, I don't know. I think the new. I don't know about you guys, but that's not the way I'm going to be raising my kids. I'm gonna tell them exactly what sex is, what it entails, what's gonna happen to you, especially for women. Women are gonna take it, and what women can do when they're scorned, how women can act when they've been betrayed. They're gonna see all of that stuff. before we even get into, anything else, before the STD topic. It's this emotional thing that I cannot believe you're having 12-year-old kids have to go through, okay? And they're being taught about things like anal. It blows my mind. And it's also not the place of the government to tell you how to raise your kids when it comes to that topic, to tell you how to teach your kids. They shouldn't be the ones teaching your kids, first of all. They shouldn't. This government, right? What she's saying, you do what you want and know that there's consequences. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true, which is also why it's beneficial to not sleep with an asshole. Guy or girl, right? But then you'll have all the excuses. Well, I don't know what it is. I'm just really attracted to these mean guys as long as the sex is really good. Well then, unless you're having sex 24/7, there's going to be a lot of really, really dark moments throughout your day. It's just terrible. And I feel like I've exhausted that bit of that topic. We have bigger issues, but for sure our children cannot be led astray by the government and their teachings, because you are just numbing them up completely. And women are being seen now more and more as just objects. So it is easier for them to... That Miley Cyrus thing was just... Have you seen all of the Photoshops on that, though, with Miley? Okay, it's this disgusting, photo. She's there sitting and she's, licking this cake. And it says, abortion is healthcare. And you've had so many people Photoshop that to literally say, I think somebody Photoshopped it to say vaccines are poison. There were some good Photoshops for that one. She's trash, okay? She's really trash, and I feel like she's washed up at 26. It's really sad to have to be able to get attention in that way, because the music is not good enough. It won't sell itself. I loved what Adam posted about it. His thoughts pretty much just brought it all in for me. I'll go ahead and read his quote right here regarding the Miley Cyrus, which is nasty. I don't want to continue to give attention to what she had posted, but pretty much the images looked something like this. Okay, this was her post. Abortion is healthcare. She's just vile, right? She says she's got a very special collab with Planned Parenthood, for announcing don't F with my freedom. Real freedoms are actually being taken, and this. So Adam posted this great thing. I'm just going to go ahead and read it here because he summed it up perfectly. Okay, he put, if you ever needed proof the music industry is run by Satanists with a dark agenda, this is probably the easiest example. Miley is an MK/monarch pawn used for social engineering through music and fashion. You can see she was photoshopped to appear younger to appeal to a younger crowd. Remember Britney Spears? The day after she shaved her head, a bunch of other girls did with no idea why. Monkey see, monkey do. 90% of all radio stations are owned by Clear Channel. So the music that is popular is the music you're told is popular. This way society can be engineered to move in any direction the ruling elite desire, which is never a good direction. This is nothing new. The Tavistock Institute has been doing it for decades and have it down to a science. These artists sign contracts with black magic written into the agreements to weave demonic thoughts formed into the music being broadcast. Remember, you are what you eat, see, think, and hear. The length a person will go to defend the killing of an unborn baby is the same length you should go to keeping that person out of your life. It would be wise to start looking behind the curtain sooner than later, and if you expand the picture, she's doing a collaboration with Planned Parenthood to harvest souls. So, it's out there. It's so obvious and in our face right now, and she's definitely under the MK Ultra. That's just another thing. I know, you guys, this is dark, and it's really, but you know what, honestly, it really helps me understand why we're in the place we're in right now, because a lot of getting into this topic with the vaccines and why people are so confused and why there's this huge division is having to understand the curtain and the mechanics of the curtain, right? Why they've orchestrated it in such a way, how they've orchestrated it in such a way that is causing us to be confused and to be butting heads over something that should be very simple. You show somebody an insert. You show them that these are the ingredients. These are government websites that are contradicting themselves. One says, here's the ingredients. The other says, yes, those are the ingredients, but those ingredients are also cancerous. They're also carcinogens. They're also neurotoxins. You show them that there's been HHS. There's been proof that there's been no safety studies conducted. You show them why. It's because there's no liability. Obviously, if you have no liability, what's the point in doing a safety study? Why would you waste your money? You're not liable. And they will still look at you and regurgitate these same talking points of, but vaccines save lives. And this is all why. Okay, so I can kind of jump on with this, right? Can we really be upset that our government is lying to us? Can we really be that upset that our government is lying to us? We're not only conditioned from the start, but we are in turn lying to our own children constantly about everything, and sometimes for no reason at all. I will not judge you, okay? But come on, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, right? A stranger's gonna break into our home on Christmas Eve, and pretty much we're gonna leave out these cookies. And by the way, he's only gonna break into our home through our chimney if you're good and if you're well behaved. Like, it is a lie. Stop with the, oh, it's a childhood thing, like everybody did it. We did it when we were kids. We are normalizing lying to our children. And guess what? When the lie is revealed, now what? What happened to you when you found out Santa Claus didn't exist? What happened to you? You forgave your parents anyway, right? You forgave them anyway because, well, they were trying to make the holidays fun. You were excusing the lie for them. Like, you are excusing lie for them. Your parents don't even have to do it, okay? You forgive them. You still love them. You forgive them because why? They were your shelter. They were your provider. They were the arms that you ran into. They were your news source. Does that sound kind of familiar? Does that sound like maybe a really sick, similar trend? And the reason that all the people that are on government assistance and all the people that depend on the government and depend on the media for their news and depend on, that they are so forgiving when they say, oh, we effed up. I guess we effed up. Sorry. And you forgive them. Why? Because you don't bite the hand that feeds you. And they know that. All right? You don't bite the hand. You're just going to stay woke in this prison cell, though. But we wonder why. We wonder why. We are products of... How many lies have you been told to in your life that you have just forgiven? And it's good to forgive. I'm not saying don't ever forgive. You'll hold that bitterness. That's terrible. But how many lies have you gone ahead and just forgiven because they were these small, simple lies? When you lie to a child, it is really hard to break that conditional placement that's in their minds. They have these simple, small minds, and you're giving them these simple, small lies, okay? At worst case, you're teaching them that the lie is to make someone feel better. So then what are we all lying about now? You're setting this rule in their brains from the get-go, from the starting gate, that it is okay to use lies every now and then to make people feel better, so that's exactly the reasoning of the powers that be to not tell you the truth, because the truth is going to be too much for you to bear, right? To tell you, oh, we're actually doing this because you guys, we really don't feel like there needs to be 9 billion people on this planet. It should be way less. It should be like less than 1 million people for us to really sustain and thrive. And we don't have to tell them these inconvenient truths because it's going to just cause a ruckus. We can't tell all these people that maybe there possibly is like livable area in Antarctica. Like, why tell them this stuff? Why tell them this stuff? It's only going to cause chaos. And that's exactly what we've been conditioned with since freaking birth, okay? We love our parents. I'm not telling you to go and fight with your parents. I'm not. But you're conditioning your kids. And you yourself have been conditioned. Personally, if you want to get rid of Santa Claus like tomorrow or by next Christmas, here's what you do. This is my advice. Take it or leave it. You got to get Santa Claus to give the crappy presents, okay? The Santa Claus is the one that gives the socks, the clothes, the crap presents the kids hate. You, because it's your hard-earned money, you're the one, you and your husband, the nicest presents come from you guys. Why are you going to let Santa Claus, a fictional character, get the credit for the bicycle and get the credit for like the videos and the, come on, that's easy. That's step one. The minute the kids start seeing that Santa Claus gives some pretty crap presents, they're going to be like, this Santa guy's crap. He's shit. And you're going to be like, yeah, he kind of sucks, man. What's going on with Santa? I never believed in Santa Claus. I asked my parents when I was like 5, hey, okay, so all my classmates believe in Santa. You know, we moved from the Philippines to America, and I was like, this Santa guy. And my mom just looked at me and she's like, do you honestly think that one guy can go to every chimney in the entire, she gave me that talk, and I was like, no. She goes, okay, but let's not ruin it for others. And that's how that went out. But you guys, there is a distinction between lying to protect yourself in the evil world. It's not the same though as lying to a loved one just cuz. Okay? But we are so conditioned as children that when I tell you about things, or when you hear about things like the sun is being dimmed and it's going to cause all kinds of wrong to our health, and you're sitting back like me going, why are there not protests in the streets? Why are there not riots? Why is there no outrage? It's because we're numb. We've been lied to so often. There's zero outrage because we are so used to this. We're numb. We're numb to it. You know, it's government. It's not necessary to tell people the truth. That's what they've said. During an investigation, you also can't divulge a bunch of information. Okay, well, these same, these same programs, these same organizations that are government, which is really just a big group of very corrupt people. These agencies are out there, they're designed to keep people from the truth, and they're playing by a different set of rules. Their rules are not your rules. Remember that. Their rules are not your rules. That's why it is an abusive relationship, okay? A very abusive relationship. I posted this thing yesterday on my Facebook, which you guys can go check out. I left this post public, but I want you guys to read the comments on your own time, okay? I'm going to show you what the post said. Here we go. I put, name one thing past governments have admittedly lied about, and the people not only forgave them, but allowed them to continue on their merry way. And right now it's got about 61 comments. I would take the time to look through all of this, because these are things that they have already, look at number one, first of all. These are already things that they have openly admitted to and have lied to us about, besides just cigarettes not causing cancer. The Qatar incident, that's a huge one. But there's a lot of source on here. And you know what? After you look through these, after you look through even 5 of these, out of like the 50 plus things on here, try to look yourself in the mirror, okay? And tell yourself, no, they care about us. They care about our health. They're here for the good. Like, it'll be not possible to do that. And then think about how dangerous and demented and how scary it is that they can mandate now your health and the health of your kids. That's where I'm going to end with that, because going down this could take hours and hours. And I got some stuff that I need to do today. So you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We're going to reconvene, I think, for Monday. Many of you are watching the dinosaur documentary thing from yesterday. Let's do a chat then, because I know I had a bunch of messages on that, and I'm excited to break down that one with you guys together. Okay, take care.